Hello everyone and welcome back to Transfer Review, the final transfer review of this winter at least, because deadline day has happened, the window is shut, and we are here to run through maybe some of the deals that you missed on deadline day, because there was so much action going on. Before we get into that, Mike McCubbin, you're joining me today. How are you, my friend?
Yeah, not too bad. Recovered from Monday night. I feel like there's stuff that's happened that I've not even got around to looking at yet. So maybe some of these deals might even take me by surprise. But yeah, all good. Thanks, Henry. How are you?
No, class. I'm well. I completely agree with you. I've been on Transfermarkt just scouring through, and it's actually so surprising to see which clubs have done business and who's gone where, etc. I saw, like Gaetan, he's gone to Pacos Ferreira, back into the European game. I saw that. But yeah, just to run through some deals that people might have missed. FC Porto, they've replaced Luis Diaz by signing Galeno from Braga for €9 million. That's always worth watching out for. While Marcus Edwards, 23-year-old former Spurs youth product, who's been out in Portugal tearing up for the Vitória, he's joined Sporting for €7.7 million. Massive good luck to him. What a great move that is. Lille left back, Reinildo, he's joined Atletico Madrid for $3 million. I think that's a really smart piece of business. Vedat Murici, he's gone on loan to Mallorca. And then we've seen Goran Pandev, he's left Genoa for Parma. 38 years old. People thought he was dust. People thought he was finished. But Pandev is still going with Gigi Buffon at Parma. I also saw that Denis Adoy was pinched by Club Brugge, which is a heartbreak, but also sort of, for me personally, the best of both worlds, I suppose, that move. But Mikey, what of those moves takes your eye, if any?
Yeah, I think the Edwards move is pretty exciting. The Reinildo move as well. I think Atleti have been lacking a bit in that area in some ways, at least in terms of a specialist left back. So I think that's a good move. But yeah, Henry, yeah, that's. I feel like the Adoy move's the move of your dreams, really. That's the kind of move that you've been making over the last 12 months. So yeah, clearly like-minded people.
Yeah, it's so funny the amount he's got like cult status at Fulham now, Adoy. There's been like a real outcry of emotion about it. But anyway, we're not here to talk about Denis Adoy. There are bigger fish to fry in the world of football. And we're going to start with the transfer we liked this week, which was Aaron Ramsey to Rangers on deadline day. Mikey, tell us more.
Yeah, I mean, it was only a few weeks ago, Henry, that you were asking me to pick out an attacking midfielder / forward that Rangers could buy on the cheap this January.
Yeah.
And I really struggled. I couldn't find anyone because it's really difficult to find it when you've got a club that have, a fairly limited budget and, finding a player who's maybe a bit out of sorts and whatnot. Few would have predicted that Rangers would have been the next home of Aaron Ramsey, would they, at the start of this window? But yeah, on deadline day it was confirmed. Gianluca Di Marzio reported there was multiple interest in the Juventus midfielder from England and on the continent. But yeah, even at that point, it wasn't known that Rangers were the club vying for his signature. He reportedly rejected offers from Crystal Palace, Burnley and Newcastle to head to Glasgow on a 6-month loan. And in his own words, none matched the magnitude of this club, with European football and the chance to play in front of 50,000 fans every other week. Also saying there's so much to look forward to between now and May. So that's ultimately what did it. The stature of Rangers, obviously a club that has been, has built its stature back up as well, in the last couple of years, obviously winning the league under Gerrard last year, back in the hunt for the title this year under Gio van Bronckhorst. But obviously I think what most people are wondering is how Rangers were able to pull this deal off, because Ramsey, of course, was on very big money at Juventus, a reported £400,000 a week. This is something that I think is, in Italy at least, I think there's claims that this is quite an inflated fee and that it's closer to the kind of 200, 250 mark. He obviously signed for free back in the summer of 2019. But no matter what Ramsey's true wage is in Turin, the fact remains that Rangers' wage structure is far lower in terms of its scale. Their total weekly wage bill is just shy of £390,000 a week. Alfredo Morelos is their top earner on 33k. So yeah, the logistics of such a deal seem almost impossible, don't they? However, Gazzetta dello Sport claim that while Ramsey's wages are inflated by the British media, with the true value being closer to 150k per week before tax. There's obviously also that tax break initiative that was brought in in Serie A a few years ago, which, you know, among others, attracted the likes of Cristiano Ronaldo, Romelu Lukaku. So that was always a big draw for a player. Would have been a big draw for a player like Ramsey anyway, not having to pay as much tax as he would have in England. But they believe that Rangers will contribute around £45,000 a week towards Ramsey's wages, while the old lady received a £2 million loan fee and included a £4.5 million option to buy for the 31-year-old, which could become active in the summer. So in terms of wages, Rangers have got a pretty good deal out of this. As to what Ramsey would demand if they wanted to make his move permanent in the summer, that remains to be seen, obviously, and you know, and depends, I guess, on just how important he becomes to them, if he can deliver them that second title. But yeah, this is a huge move for Rangers and for Scottish football, I think, to have a player who was playing at one of Europe's top clubs to come to Ibrox. I think is a really big deal, isn't it? Obviously capped 71 times for Wales, 262 Premier League appearances for Arsenal. Massive coup for Gio van Bronckhorst, who was looking for a player in his mould. But also, an exciting move for Ramsey as well, because this is a guy who we haven't really seen play much football at all, or at least not really get a consistent run in the side and make his mark on a team, since long before he left Arsenal. So yeah, Henry, what do you make of this What do you make of this move? Sorry, from Ramsey's perspective.
Well, I think it's brilliant. I mean, from Rangers' perspective, if he can help them hold on to that top spot in the Scottish Premiership, then they're going to get Champions League football. That's guaranteed. So it almost pays for itself. It's a gamble worth making, I think, in this regards. Just quickly, it's interesting you asked about the other attacking midfielders. I suggested Skov Olsen, if you remember. He went to Club Brugge on deadline day for €6 million. And the other one was Alfred Gudmundsson from RZ. He went to Genoa for 1.2 million. So it's good to know that the people I had in mind are at least going places, as it were. But for Ramsey, it's been a bit of an unhappy time over in Italy. And I think this genuinely, it makes a lot of sense when you really think about it, moving to Rangers at this point. Because in the past 2.5 years, he's had to play under 3 different coaches. At the Bianconeri, he's only featured 70 times and started on just 25 occasions in Serie A. Max Allegri just clearly doesn't fancy him at all. He hasn't been shy about that in the press, has he? He's only given him 97 league minutes this term. He still scored 6 times for the club, 1 Serie A and Coppa Italia, and that kind of experience will be invaluable as Rangers look to get a back-to-back title over the line. And you know what? You could argue he hasn't really had a fair shot at the Allianz Stadium in his time there either. Last season he ranked 5th in the squad for shots of 1.9 per 90, while FBref claims his 4.8 shot creating actions per 90 lagged behind just Paulo Dybala among the regular starters. For people who don't know what that is, that's like shot creating. That includes passes, dead balls, fouls and dribbles that lead to an attempt. And the fact that about 80% of his shot creating actions came from live passes shows that Ramsey was playing well with what minutes he was afforded. I mean, I always thought he looked quite impressive on the pitch. He ended last term on 4 assists. Expected goals and assists suggested his total output of 2 goals and 4 assists should have been higher. And you know what? After a rigorous career at Arsenal, after sort of, to be fair, cashing in pretty well over in Juventus, why not go to a ball-heavy possession side like Rangers with esteem, as he said? Van Bronckhorst plays with a 3-man midfield. He should have plenty of opportunities to show what he could do. They take tons of shots, unsurprisingly, alongside Celtic as the big bullies of that division. And I'm excited to see next to Joe Aribo what he can do. And they've also brought Amad Diallo in as well, which is a great addition. He looked brilliant, didn't he, in his opening appearance for the club. They've got a new right back, Mateusz Zakowski on Lechia Gdansk. I'm not going to pretend I know too much about him, but they managed to replace Nathan Patterson. So what a window for the old firm. They're only 2 points ahead of Celtic after 23 games. And who do they play in the first game back? It is nonetheless Celtic. So I mean, what a game to look forward to. What an event. Both have strengthened in the winter, haven't they? Celtic bring in sort of that core of Japanese players, looking really, really strong under Ange Postecoglou, it must be said. So yeah, let's see what they can do. Obviously, Rangers lost big Jermaine Defoe to Sunderland on deadline day. I thought originally Doogie was on this with me, so we could have discussed that. But yeah, all in all, the title run in this year is as exciting as I can remember it for a long time over in Scotland. And as we said, all important Champions League football on the line. And after a difficult few years with Juventus, why bother going for a relegation scrap in the Premier League when he can go and really make a name for himself at a big side? I mean, yeah, do you give it the thumbs up, this move, Mikey?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, for the left fieldness of it, I think it's great. I think the fact that a player has rejected Premier League sides for a Scottish side, I think is really interesting in itself, and I think it says a lot about what Ramsey wants to do with his career. He wants to go somewhere new. He wants to have a new experience and ultimately fight for a title in Champions League football. So I'm expecting to see him make an impact at Ibrox.
Yeah, good luck to him. Still only 31. Will be really interesting to see how this plays out in 6 months' time. Anyway, let us know if you agree. We're Rangers fans. We want to hear from you. How excited are you to have a player like Ramsey in your midfield? And let's move on to the transfer we don't like.
So for the transfer we don't like, we're actually going for a move that failed on deadline day, Henry. Ousmane Dembélé. He's been making a lot of headlines over the last few weeks. What happened with his proposed move to PSG?
I mean, to be honest, I was looking for a move that didn't look very good on Transfermarkt or etc. But none of them. I think it was smart business from across Europe. Is Slimani to Sporting fueled by maybe nostalgia of his previous success there? He's not been great recently. Perhaps Bryan Gil. Is it a shame to see him go back to Spain on loan so soon? Probably, but all in all, you can't look past this failed move from Ousmane Dembélé as sort of a transfer we don't like, and really everything that this means as well, because I think it's going to be quite an uncomfortable few months for the French winger. If we just kind of track back and look at everything that's happened so far, on the 20th of January, the sporting director, Mathieu Alemany, he was quoted by Goal as saying, "We've told Dembélé that he must leave the club as soon as possible." This came after Dembélé refused to sign that new deal. They've been pushing him to get over the line. He obviously wanted better terms than Barcelona were willing to offer him, and he was basically told he had to leave the club. I think Xavi repeated that as well and left him out of a couple of matchday squads, and it looked like genuinely things could get pretty ugly between the pair. Dembélé responded to the pressure quite extraordinarily by saying he wouldn't back down. He would be blackmailed by the club and being told to leave. Then the Spanish Players Association warned the club over their potentially illegal treatment of the 24-year-old. So pretty bitter conclusion to his time then. It's not got any prettier, has it? As you'll probably allude to with Joan Laporta in the press. It looked like they were trying to engineer a move away on deadline day for him. It looked like it was close. Sky Sports revealed that PSG had an agreement with the former Rennes man as early as Sunday. But then as deadline day loomed, it looks like Barcelona asked for some kind of fee for the player, which PSG basically refused to. I've heard reports of between 4 million euros and 20 million euros for that to happen. That's unconfirmed, but clearly it just hasn't. For whatever reasons, PSG walked away from the deal. Apparently Manchester United previously had walked away from the deal. Chelsea then lodged an official inquiry for Dembélé, but that didn't really progress, perhaps over similar reasons. The fact is he's available for free in 6 months' time, and I don't think any club is going to touch him right now unless they're desperate to strengthen, which I don't think either Chelsea or Barcelona are in the forward line. I don't think it's worth. They're probably thinking it's not worth paying money for him now. And for Dembélé, probably thinks it's not worth. He knows he could probably cash in more as a free agent. That's certainly the opinion of Laporta. But I mean, where do you think this leaves Dembélé, McCubbin? Because it looks like he's in a really sticky situation right now.
Yeah, I mean, he faces the prospect of not really playing much football over the next few months. I know, like, Xavi was always a big fan of him, but the club made moves this January, with him leaving in mind, really, didn't they? Ferran Torres coming through the door early on, and then obviously backed up by the Adama Traoré loan, the Aubameyang deal that obviously came through on deadline day as well. There was talk that Barca were going to try and use Dembélé as a kind of make weight and a swap deal for Aubameyang. Obviously, that would have helped them out in terms of probably being able to offer Aubameyang slightly better terms, at least in the first 6 months of his deal, if they could have got Dembélé off the books by sending him to Arsenal, but that never happened. There's quite the Barca forward line is now much more stacked than it was a month ago. And with Dembélé and his agent on what seems to be quite bad terms of the Barca hierarchy. It feels it's difficult to imagine him getting much of a look in. Like you were saying, Joan Laporta has very much weighed in on the situation, hasn't he? On Tuesday, he said that the Frenchman had been shown 2 good offers, the last one from an English club, and he didn't accept them. He kind of expressed his surprise at that. He said it's hard to understand, it's bad for him and bad for the club. And yeah, they were clearly desperate to shift his £210,000 reported wages. And are reportedly considering terminating his contract as well, but I think that would require kind of cooperation from his end as well.
Yeah.
He obviously cost them 140 million euros in transfer fees as well. I mean, this has to go down as, you know, another terrible investment from Barca, especially if he, you know, when he inevitably leaves for free. What a huge hole in their finances that represents over the last 5 years. But like you say, Henry, you know, 6 months, you know, it does go quickly, and, you know, Dembélé can just kind of hold firm and maybe get some game time here and there. You know, Barca are going to be, you know, entering the Europa League this month, aren't they? They've got quite a stacked schedule. They're going to be fighting hard for Champions League football. Like, there might come a time where Xavi really needs to bring Dembélé into the team, and, you know, he will be keen to put himself in the shop window in that sense. If, you know, Chelsea and PSG are vying for him, he's obviously going to want to play some football before the summer. Laporta hinted on Tuesday that he has a pre-contract agreement lined up. So whether that's with Chelsea or PSG, I feel like maybe it's more likely with PSG, considering they're going to be, you know, potentially seeing Mbappe leave in the summer. Like that's, you know, at least promising for the player. But yeah, what happens in the meantime will be really interesting to see. I'm really interested to see personally how Xavi lines up this new forward line, whether he has Aubameyang playing through the centre or Ferran Torres playing through the centre. How Adama Traoré fits into all of this, but yeah, and obviously they've been playing a lot of young players in that forward line as well. Luke de Jong as well has been in fairly decent form over the last couple of months. So yeah, it's a weird situation. I think most Barca fans will just be happy for it to conclude in the summer. But yeah, a really difficult year for Dembélé and for the club.
Yeah, that El Chiringuito video is exceptional if anyone's not seen it, where it looks like they've found the agent talking to PSG, etc. And I actually think PSG is probably going to be the sensible move for him down the line. I just want it on record that I think the Adama Traoré to Barcelona deal is not as bad as some of the rep it's been getting. I actually think that's quite an intriguing proposition there. But anyway, guys, at home, what do you think Dembélé should do next? Where should he go? Do you think Barcelona are being unfair to him, blackmailing him, as perhaps he's suggesting? We've seen players do a lot worse, let's face it, than Dembélé. Anyway, that's it. That's it for Transfer Review for another winter. Thank you, everyone, for sticking with us every week. Let us know what you'd like to see us next. What other content ideas, perhaps, you think we should come up with. Mikey, what should our friends on Eurofootball Daily go and do next? If you still want speculation or kind of stuff about the transfer window, obviously it's closed now, but there was a lot to get your teeth stuck into. We did a Continental Club last week on the clubs that have done well in the transfer window, looking at kind of some of the best deals. So yeah, go and check out Continental Club. Love it. I think Football Pyramid's coming back as well. So always fun. After my shock loss to Zach last year, I've got lots of work to do. Anyway, take care, everyone, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.